And I have often said that tequila is a spirit that I'm a little bit afraid of. It's one of those ones that gets me drunker than drunk, but unfortunately it's kind of left some permanent scars, mental and physical. Well, hello there and welcome back to another episode of Cocktails with Ciara. My name is Ciara and I'm a whiskey-loving Irish gal who's on a cocktail voyage of discovery. If you are new here, I have zero professional bar experience other than a passion for making mixed drinks at home and showing you how I do it. So hit that subscribe button, stick around, and we both just might learn something, because if I can do it, you can do it. So in today's video, we are going to be using a spirit that I have never used on this channel before, and it is also a spirit that I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit terrified of. So today we are going to be making a Paloma. So yes, today we are going to be making a Paloma cocktail. I have never made or tried this cocktail before, and I have often said that tequila is a spirit that I'm a little bit afraid of. It's one of those ones that gets me drunker than drunk, and I feel like I've had some pretty bad tequilas in my life, and I feel like it's kind of set me off down the wrong path of not appreciating tequila. However, in today's video, we're not going to be using tequila, we're going to be using mezcal, which is why I'm excited / a little bit nervous. So before we get into the history of the Paloma cocktail and I show you how I make it at home for the first time, I would like to take a second to tell you about my Patreon. Not only is it a great way of supporting my channel, but you can also have access to exclusive content, you can get exclusive discounts on my newly launched merch, and you can also see the footage that is just too tipsy for YouTube. And so without rambling on too much, let's get into the history of the Paloma. Now, sadly, not that much is actually known about the origins of the Paloma cocktail, but it is a huge favorite in Mexico and among tequila or mezcal lovers in general. Many believe that it is named after La Paloma, which means the dove, which was a popular folk song from the 1860s. And Difford's Guide states that it was created by the legendary Don Javier Delgado in Tequila, Mexico for the Capilla bar, I believe. So when I say I'm a little bit terrified of tequila, it is only because I feel like I've had some really bad tequilas in Ireland. I think that like the really bottom shelf cheap tequila that you usually find in Irish nightclubs, which Quiva always makes us take a shot of when we're out, is what I shouldn't be associating tequila with. But unfortunately, it's kind of left some permanent scars, mental and physical, that have just made me not enjoy tequila. However, I went to Mexico with my sister about 3 years ago now, and it was, hand on heart, one of the greatest trips ever. It is the most incredible place. We spent a lot of time in Tulum. We love scuba diving, so we dived in the cenotes in Tulum. Interestingly enough, Tulum is a limestone region, just like the west of Ireland where I'm from, which means we have very porous rock, which means we have a lot of underground rock pools and underground rivers and all that kind of stuff, which makes for great diving. Anyway, we went to Tulum. We also went to Cozumel and dove off the coast in the underground currents, and it was just so amazing. And the Mexican people are incredible. They're very Irish, like they love a drink, they love a chat, they're so friendly. We just had the most incredible time, and I have to say, when I was in Mexico, I did have some very good tequila. So taking all of that into account, it seems only fitting that eventually I was going to make this cocktail, which is so incredibly popular in Mexico. So now that I've given you a little bit of history on the Paloma, let's get into its ingredients. So as I mentioned previously, the Paloma is a tequila-based cocktail, but you can also use some mezcal. And I'm so excited that I have some mezcal to use. You will probably notice that a significant amount of this is gone. This actually belongs to my good friend Arturo, who actually is from Mexico, and he is living here in Ireland. He is an absolute gent. I adore him. And he was up at my apartment one evening. We were all enjoying ourselves, and he brought this incredible bottle of mezcal, and he left it behind, and I kept telling him that I would bring it over to him, and he said, keep it, enjoy it, feature it in the cocktail channel. So of course, I'm so excited that I can use this. I actually looked it up. It's Alapus Mezcal, and it actually looks like a really beautiful brand. And the characteristics of this particular mezcal, apparently it's a little bit smoky. I can't tell you that I was able to discern the nuances of the flavor when myself and Arturo and our friends were all drinking it together at the time. It was quite late into the evening, but hopefully now when I try it, I can discern some of those smoky notes, because because I remember really enjoying it. So along with our mezcal, we are also going to be using some pink grapefruit juice. I have some here from Tropicana. I also have some grapefruits that I'm going to be using as a garnish as well. And I believe you can use grapefruit soda for this cocktail, but I don't think it's something that's readily available in Irish supermarkets. So I'm going to work with some pink grapefruit juice, and then we're going to top it up with soda. So I feel like that kind of covers that nicely. So along with our mezcal and our pink grapefruit juice, we are also going to be using some fresh lime juice in this drink. And we're going to be using another ingredient, which is agave syrup. And I thought I had agave syrup in the cupboard, but I have finished it all. So instead, I'm going to be using a little bit of honey. I know it's not the same, but we are going to be substituting it. And you know what? Sometimes with cocktails, you just got to work with what you have. All right, so now we have all of our ingredients, our mezcal, our pink grapefruit juice, our honey in place of agave, our lime juice, and our grapefruit for garnish, and our soda water. Let's get into actually making a Paloma, because I am so excited to try this cocktail. So we're going to be using a tumbler glass for our Paloma cocktail, and I believe that a lot of people often salt the rim, which I have to say I am partial to. I'm interested to see how it's going to work with all of these flavors. So let's go ahead and salt the rim. I'm going to just do a quick wedge of lime. Sometimes if you don't want to salt the whole rim, you could just do half. So maybe I might do that so I can kind of have the best of both worlds, just in case. So let's go ahead and grab our little lime wedge. I'm just going to get just the side. Beautiful, we've got a nicely salted rim. Let's just set that aside. Got that ready to go. We don't have to worry about that later. All right, so we're gonna start by popping some ice into our shaker. And I'm gonna also pop a nice chunk of ice in our glass. So let's start with our mezcal. Ooh, it smells smoky, you know, it actually does. Okay, so we're gonna start with 50 mils of our beautiful smoky mezcal into our shaker. In she goes. Then we are going to do just 10 mils of agave if you have it, but because we don't have honey, I'm just going to do a healthy bar spoon of honey because I feel like it's a bit sweeter. I actually prefer the agave sweetness. I love it. I love it in porridge. I love it in all sorts of things. So I need to pick up some. So we'll pop just a little bit of honey in there. Okay, and then we are going to do 10 mils of fresh lime juice, which should be maybe a little over half a lime because these are kind of small. I feel like the limes in Ireland are tiny. Like, look how small that is. I feel like limes are way bigger in other places. So 10 mils of fresh lime juice in on top. And then we are gonna go in with 60 mils of our pink grapefruit juice. I don't think I've ever tried this before. Ooh, that's nice. That's good. I think that's gonna work really well. So we're doing 60 mils of pink grapefruit juice. And then we are going to give this a nice little shake, and then we're going to strain it into our glass, and then our Paloma is going to be ready to go. So let's just give this a quick shake. Ooh, oh, wow, there's a really interesting smell. Oh my God, the smokiness of the mezcal like really becomes more intense. So let's go ahead and strain her into our partially salted rim on top of our fresh ice. The color is gorgeous. So our glass is quite full, so I'm going to go ahead and top with our soda water. Nice little fizz, gorgeous. We don't have a lot of room to work with. Oh my God, it looks so refreshing. It looks so good. So for our garnish, we're going to do a slice of grapefruit. Now, these are quite large, so I'm going to need to size this down. Does anybody love grapefruit? Because my dad is obsessed with grapefruit. Shout out Brian. He eats 4 of them every morning. He blends them. Honestly, it's insane. Right, I've absolutely butchered a grapefruit trying to get one garnish. No. Why is it so hard to get a slice of grapefruit? Ta-da! Okay, so I've just kind of rested the grapefruit in there because it's too big to tip over the side. I'm also covered in grapefruit juice. So my Paloma cocktail is officially done. I have to say the color is stunning. It's like this beautiful peachy color. The garnish works so well with it. It looks really summery and refreshing. As I said, I've never tried a Paloma cocktail before, so if you will join me over on my cocktail drinking chair, let's try a Paloma for the first time and see how she tastes. Okay, so I am back in my cocktail drinking / Dr. Evil chair. My Paloma is looking so tempting. It looks so refreshing. Again, the color is absolutely beautiful. I'm so curious to see what this cocktail actually tastes like. So let's just dive right in and have some. Oh, wow. The smokiness of the mezcal is so prominent. It is wild. Like, it's so interesting. It really changes the drink. I would imagine that this drink tastes completely different if you were to use a different mezcal or even a different tequila. I really wasn't expecting it to taste as smoky as it does. It looks really light and refreshing and summery, but the smokiness of the mezcal is really up at the front of the kind of tasting notes. Having said that, you can still taste the grapefruit. It's still refreshing, it's gorgeous, but I do think that if I used a different mezcal or a tequila, that it would taste completely different. I mean, it gives it so much body, and I do like a smoky flavor, but I feel like if you wanted the lightness and refreshing taste that I would assume a Paloma has, maybe a different mezcal would probably be a better choice, because the smokiness of this is like taking over, but it's still good. It's still really good. And I think the salt on the rim really works with it. So it's at this stage in the video that I get to sit back, enjoy my cocktail, and answer some questions from my Patreon community. So I have a question here from Tom, who asks, what would you suggest as a good way to sample different kinds of absinthe? Traditional or in a cocktail, or both? Well, Tom, I think when it comes to absinthe, the best way to try it is both. I think in cocktails, absinthe is super interesting because a very small amount of it goes a really long way. It's why you see a lot of cocktails using absinthe rinses and like absinthe sprays, or like swilling the glass and then chucking it. Like, you don't even need to leave the absinthe in the cocktail per se for it to have an effect and have its presence be known, which I think is what's so amazing about the spirit. So I definitely recommend having it in a cocktail. My personal favorite, of course, being the Sazerac. It is probably my favorite cocktail, which needs revisiting soon on this channel, given that I have different rye and different absinthe to use. But when you are making your Sazerac, I also recommend that you try the absinthe in the traditional way, which is called the loaching. So that's where you do your traditional absinthe drip. And then if you're feeling frisky, just try it straight as well, because it's really not as scary as people say it is. So given that my first Paloma experience was very positive, albeit I feel like I'm probably using a mezcal that has too strong a flavor, I would love to know, how do you make your Paloma? Is there a specific tequila or mezcal that you recommend? Maybe a smoky one is what I'm supposed to be using. I'm still very much enjoying the drink. It's just, it wasn't what I was expecting it to taste like. So I would really love to know what you would recommend I make in my next Paloma. What kind of ingredients should I use next? As always, you can let me know in the comments what other cocktails you would like to see me make next. I'm always looking for new ideas, especially summery cocktails, given that we are in the middle of summer. And of course, if you'd like to see more easy cocktails that you can make at home, I will leave a link to a playlist up here. And if you have not already, then be sure to subscribe to my channel. I post new videos every single week, and I would love to have you back for more. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on my next one. Cheers!